What's up, guys? I'm Eric with Verus Engineering. I'm the CEO. I kind of run the business here. I do a little bit of everything, but also just attempt to run the business well.
And I'm Matt, more or less lead of product design and engineering. My role in this project was design the pan, over and over and over again.
Be the pan.
Until we were happy with it, yeah. Think like an oil pan.
Be like an oil pan.
Be like an oil pan.
It's kind of crazy. It's been basically like 2 years since I started working on this. My friend and I documented the kind of the stock setup, stock-ish setup. We had oil coolers and some non-stock tires that are still low grip, but we documented this, and we then started working, or I started working with Killer Bee. So Chris from Killer Bee had a idea that he wanted to test out with a very small baffle that would just restrict flow into the timing cover. And so I tested out this product. That was like my first entry into actually testing a solution. And unfortunately, it didn't really cause any measurable effect. And then around that point, my friend Tor connected us, and he was interested in solving the problem as well. He also has a Gen 2, and he's in our group. And then we tested that first baffle. And then after that, we went into the baffle also didn't have the expected effect. So then we kind of decided that we needed to take a different approach. And that approach was just add more oil capacity. It's not enough to just control the oil in the sump. We actually are running out of oil in the sump altogether.
All right, so right now we are under the GR86. We are draining the oil from the version 1 machined aluminum pan, which was slightly larger than factory as far as volume is concerned. And then we had this Dash 20 bung right here because when this car first came out, we had silicone gate, and that was like a really very real thing. And now we have an oil pressure issue, and people aren't so worried about the silicone in the intakes anymore, the oil intake, and they're more worried about actual starvation during, I believe it's right hand corners, left hand corners. It doesn't matter. It's during a cornering event. But at this point, we're basically taking this version 1 off. We've already got another version 2 of this pan that is with its own baffle system in California that's being test fit, and then we're going to test fit version 3 3D printed unit. But that version 3, we've probably printed, I don't know, 8 different versions or 9 different versions. We're now almost 1.5 quarts larger than factory as far as oil volume goes, and it still fits with the factory header, which is the cool part. And yeah, so we're gonna start documenting this because it's been, I don't know, 2 years of R&D on this one project. Also, don't mind that we're changing oil on top of a Mustang. I apologize. We're out of room.
One of the downsides of this flat engine is there's a ton of space in the heads, and there's a ton of space in the timing cover that oil can kind of accumulate in the middle of a corner. And there's just a lot of room for that oil to kind of slosh around. And so the theory was there's just not enough capacity in the sump to provide adequate volume for the pickup to stay submerged. So then at that point, it's like, okay, let's just throw more capacity in the sump. And that has yielded the best results we've seen. And it's also not super invasive. So you can just remove the pan, install a new pan, and you don't have to remove the engine. I think all the other solutions that are more involved would require removing the whole engine. So people talk about dry sump. It's definitely non-trivial to do. It's possible to do, and you can definitely get to like perfect performance with a dry sump. It's just the market for that is really small. Even in that, there's some growing pains. There's some, you need to make sure you really know what you're doing in order to do that well.
All right, so this is actually what started this entire project, which was a baffle. We did a ton of testing on this, to be honest, and ultimately it was, I don't know if we actually did test it completely, but at the end of the day, we knew it wasn't going to do enough. So we actually did a production run of these. We did testing on these flappers to make sure that they don't degrade over time, and that they don't fall out, clog the pickup. Anyway, we're going to take that off really quick. This is basically ultimately what started the whole project, though. And this was probably two-ish years ago. And after that, we're going to be able to test fit our 3D printed unit, which is a baffle and pan. Oh my gosh, Matt, this is ridiculous. Oh, it fits though. Dude, you should see it. You gotta like twist this fucker. There's the hole. You gotta like twist it like this. You gotta twist it like this, and then you gotta go like this, and then
That's kind of cool.
and then it's fucking on. It fits, Matt. So yesterday we took off version 1 oil pan. Version 2 we actually don't have. That's in California being tested, which was showing some promise. So now we have version 3 dash, I don't know, probably 12, something around there, as far as 3D printed oil pan. We are obviously not going to test this because it is 3D printed and it's printed in halves, so there's oil leaking out of it. Wonderful. Ultimately what we did here was we maximized the area for the given build volume. So we kind of lowered this a little bit. We got it really close to the exhaust. Anyone that's going to try and run this, we're going to have gold foil and potentially some heat shielding made. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but probably at the very minimum, gold foil on the oil pan itself. And then from there, we've increased oil capacity from something around, I forget what version 2 was, but we're up to like 1.3, 1.4 quarts over factory, and that's all in the lower pan. So that's not even in the upper pan. The lower pan's what actually matters as far as oil starvation goes. So we've increased capacity in the area that matters the most. We've maximized area based off of, I don't know, probably 6 different scan data. We did it on car, off car. This is obviously the on car, and now we're gonna go and machine this unit before we start casting them to see actually how this performs in real life.
The first baffle that I tested with you guys experienced a mechanical failure, and that left a part of the baffle kind of loose in the bottom of the pan, and that got sucked up into the pickup, blocking it and restricted the oil flow. So I did lose an engine in the course of this testing work, but that was not really due to a flaw in the FA24. It was just a fluke kind of prototype issue. Yeah, that engine is now with you guys, helping you guys out in the cause to do test fitting and make sure the design is working well, and also allow you guys to better understand how the engine is put together and works. Yeah, really unfortunate that happened. Awesome of you guys to buy me a new long block, or more than the long block, it's the kind of complete assembly back in the day. Yeah, so we published the story of what went down there, and I collected a bunch of donations, and those donations all went toward the labor to do that work. And that kind of reduced some of the cost to Verus and to myself as well. And then you guys coming through to replace that engine reaffirmed my decision that I'm gonna keep trying to find a solution to this. I'm gonna keep working with you guys, yeah, hopefully it's been helpful to have the engine there. Yeah, and from the start, my goal has always been to find a solution. So I've worked with now 3 different companies on this, and I want to be I want to stay as this kind of third-party objective participant. I'm going to be really happy to see these products come to market. And I think that there's a big enough market here for multiple companies to participate in. So yeah, I'm just doing whatever I can to support this effort. In addition to me testing these pans, I've also been kind of helping some of the coordination for some other people in our community to test the V3 pan, the V4 and the V5 iteration of the Verus pan. One of the reasons that I kind of stepped back from those V3, V4, V5 pans is also we wanted to find cars that were set up with higher grip and more kind of aggressive setups because honestly, at the level of my car in the stock class, we basically satisfied our objectives. So we wanted to move on to be more representative of a lot of HPD cars. My car has been in the stock class, and then just recently I moved to the street class in 8.6 Challenge. And stock class has pretty minimal amounts of mods that you can do. So this actually is not even really representative of most HPDE drivers who are, throwing 200 tread wear on almost immediately, and going to generate more grip. So now Sego from our group has kind of taken the main testing responsibilities for V4 and V5, and he's a insanely fast driver who's using 200 tread wear. So he's a really high bar for this pan to be tested against. And yeah, so that's some of the background on who's involved in the testing. Yeah, you're not going to get perfect performance out of a wet sump in a flat engine. So I think it's really about this compromise of maximizing the performance given the limitations that we've set, which is we're not going to do open heart surgery on these engines in a product that's intended to kind of go to a bigger market. So we're not going to require things that require the engine to come out in order to install them. If people want to go do that, they can do it, but we're trying to get the maximum performance we can out of these this criteria of keeping the engine in place when we're installing the part. So I think it's unlikely that we're going to see 0% pressure drop in any solution that's just a oil pan. But I think we can see something that's really significantly better than stock and significantly better than a baffle only solution as well. So that's what we're seeing, and my opinion is this is a massive improvement.
So we'd really like to thank Brian and Tor. They also sent a couple other guys our way that are sort of part of their California community. I don't know if they want to be named on video or not, but you guys know who you are, so thank you very much.
So I also want to thank the entire GR86 community for being patient as we develop this. I know you guys have been wanting this. We wanted to release it earlier this year. Clearly that didn't happen, but we're working on it now. This is going to be basically the prequel to the release of the 3D printed aluminum pan, and then in time a cast pan will be coming, which will reduce the cost to you guys as well as us. So we'll be passing that savings on to you guys. The 3D printed pan kind of is what it is, but it's really cool. It's also going to be the lightest pan that we offer. It's insanely light because the walls are actually 1.5 mil, 1.6 mil. So it's actually really light. It's probably the lightest pan that we've produced to date. So the issue is that during its right-hand corners, we believe, no one knows for sure, but we believe that the oil pickup is being starved of oil. Basically, oil is sloshing and moving away from that pickup, and that is causing the oil pressure drop. So adding vertical baffles that mitigate that sloshing when you do right-hand corners and left-hand corners in our specific case, because the pickup goes right here. So we're actually keeping oil in sectioned areas, and then we're actually with flapping doors or flapper doors, we're actually feeding that center section and then blocking it off when you turn right and left. So there's multiple benefits here in that we're trying to keep oil in that center section as much as possible so that the oil pickup doesn't become uncovered of oil, suck up air. We're gonna offer this for people that are very ready to fight oil starvation. And then probably early next year, we'll have a cast version that basically is the exact same thing as this. We also are still trying some horizontal baffling that will hopefully improve oil starvation even further. We have someone in California testing the latest version of that on this pan. This pan actually also offers these drain back holes, which are actually for the PCV system. So that actually improves, not performance, but it reduces the amount of crankcase ventilation gases. I don't even know what you want to call it, but basically a slight smoke on startup was happening with this pan. So we learned that with this one, and then that helps that because this actually submerges it in oil.
It's a feature that's incorporated in the factory pan, and to try and get more volume, we just deleted it entirely to see if it would help, and it didn't really prove to be worth the smoking issues, so we added it back in. So that'll be present on the cask pans as well. Maybe not quite as fancy as this one, but.
This is what we have right this moment. We're also working on a cast pan in time, but if you want something this year, we were gonna release this as a 3D printed pan.